Joining me now is Brittney Griner's coach, Vanessa Nygaard, the head coach of the Phoenix Mercury. Coach Nygaard, thank you very much. I cannot imagine the pressure on you and the team and Brittney's friends and family. You were quoted this week as saying, if it was LeBron, he'd be home, right? Can you expand on that? Why do you think that Brittney Griner is being treated differently than a similar superstar who is male?
Well, I think it's really a function of the media coverage of women's sports and how women athletes are valued. We get 4% of the media coverage, so BG's got 4% of the attention that she's needed in this situation. Whoever the athlete, a male athlete of equivalent status, of equivalent achievement of BG, an Olympian, the most dominant player in the WNBA, I'm sure that if it was a male athlete, it would be different basically on media coverage.
What do you want the president to do?
Well, we've just heard that he's going to respond to her heartfelt letter. BG's scared. Hearing her words and seeing her images, it's just been heartbreaking for all of us who know her and care about her. And it sounds like today he is going to make a response. When he makes the action to have her come home after this trial is complete, hopefully she will return to us. And we just desperately want to have her back here with her family and friends.
What do you think, besides the emotional damage, the physical damage is on her? I mean, she's being held for more than 4 months. She's 6'9". She's a superb athlete, a superstar, not able to exercise, caged for 2.5 hours each way to and from her court appearances in the small cage. Just the whole process of this woman, a 31-year-old in her prime.
I mean, it must be hell. It must be the most terrible thing possible for her to not have access to all the things she's normally has access to. But we're talking about a Russian prison. And so it couldn't be a worse condition, I think. And we're just concerned about her and her welfare every day. We have been able to get some communication with her via email and through the State Department. But it's just so upsetting to know that somebody you care about is put in this terrible situation. She's wrongfully detained. And, you know, we know in America that we hold freedom very tight and it's very important to us. And BG, who is the daughter of a Vietnam vet, her family has served heroically for our country and really loves freedom, has really had that taken away. And the idea that she said in her letter that she may never have freedom again, is just heartbreaking.
From what you know from her texts, from her emails, what is her condition?
You know, it's what you don't want to hear. It's as best as can be expected. And I know I did hear that they did get her a longer bed. Somebody over there had some empathy for her. But, you know, I think it's extremely, extremely difficult, very different than what we would expect for our conditions here. And I think she isn't doing as well as anyone would do if they were home. So we just want her to get home. We care about her so much. And we hope that President Biden will react in a positive manner and help to bring her back quickly.
And is there any way that you think he should be bringing her back, doing a deal with Vladimir Putin, whatever it takes, even before the trial is over? Because this trial could take weeks and weeks. They're only meeting like 1 day a week.
Yeah, you know, I'm not too enlightened on the Russian legal system. I know it's not a lot different than ours, but I think that an exchange will happen at some point, and it's just a matter of time. And so we're just want the president to put his attention on. I know there's so many important things happening throughout the country, and we don't want to take away from any of the other things, but this is something that, you know, 139 days, that's a really, really long time for someone to be wrongfully imprisoned in another country, and we just need her home.
And there's a larger context. You alluded to this. The fact that women are not treated the same way as LeBron and the male superstars. She wouldn't have been in Russia if she were making enough money as a you know, superstar woman athlete in the United States.
Absolutely. You know, they make 4 to 5 times as much money playing in Russia well, not anymore, probably, but in other countries overseas. And that is a function of our economic system and the attention that media provides and the money that comes from television coverage contracts that the men's athletes get to benefit from. And so our athletes have to play year round, which is wear and tear on their bodies. And they play all over the world, in Australia, in China, in Russia, in Turkey, in Israel. And these are different conditions than here in the United States, and maybe not as safe for Americans, especially Americans that are a little bit different than everyone else. And so, this is something that we are hopeful in the WNBA to continue to raise salaries, to continue to get larger TV contracts so that our athletes can stay here and play in front of our American fans.
And what do you hope to achieve by tonight's rally?
Well, more visibility. We're hoping to have a really great turnout, having a lot of people from Phoenix come out. We have our government officials locally that are going to help, and just to create more talk, more buzz. We're seeing more celebrities and more people throughout pop culture and other athletes really putting attention onto this. And us being here today on MSNBC, that's a really, really big step to help bring more attention to this. So hopefully this will continue. And with the more noise that we can generate, the more attention to it, the Biden administration will act and help bring BG home.
Well, Vanessa Nygaard, we're getting word that there could be some action imminently from the president to arrange a call with Cherelle. We're waiting word on that. We're putting as much attention on this as we can. We're committed to that. So thanks for everything that you are doing, you and the team. It's so important. And, of course, Cherelle as well. Thanks.
Thank you. I appreciate you bringing attention on this and continue to spread the message about bringing BG home.
And what we're now hearing, I'm being told, is that President Biden did call Cherelle Griner, and that Vice President Harris as well was on that call. And there is a reassurance that he is doing everything to get Brittney home as soon as possible. This is major news now that we're breaking for the first time. The president and vice president have spoken to Cherelle Griner, and the president is sending a letter back to Brittney Griner. The president read a letter that he has written to Brittney. Vanessa, if you're still with me, do you have any reaction to the president having called Cherelle after your pressure and all of the other things that we've been reporting, and that there has been some action at that level?
Yeah, this is really fantastic news. I know that of all the people that have been in tons of pressure under this, Cherelle, being BG's wife, has felt the most pressure. And so to get that call from President Biden and Vice President Harris, and to know that they've read the letter and that they're going to react and respond, this is great, great news. And we hope to have more progress continue.
And if you can hang with me for just a moment, this is all being reported by our White House correspondent, Carol Lee, who's been all over this story. She reports that the president on this call offered his support to Cherelle and to Brittney's family. He is committed to ensuring they are provided with all possible assistance while his administration pursues every avenue to bring Brittney home. Today's call, of course, follows recent calls from National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan and the Secretary of State, Tony Blinken. They've had with Cherelle in recent weeks, but she has said that that was not adequate. She wanted to speak to the president. She'd been advised, frankly, by Trevor Reed's family, who got Trevor from a Marine home in April as a result of meeting directly with the president and protesting in front of 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, as well as in Texas when he was on a visit there. So they took it to the president, and that was why Cherelle has been making such a point out of all of this, as have you and the team. Going on to Carol Lee's reporting, Coach, the president directed his national security team to remain in regular contact with Cherelle and with Brittney's family and with other families of Americans held hostage or wrongfully detained abroad, to keep them updated on efforts to secure the release of their loved ones as quickly as possible. So that's our breaking news. Coach, I think from my experience covering the State Department, initially there was the belief that everyone should not speak, that before the trial started, before the charges were lodged, there was a chance to get her out before it got elevated to the, super diplomatic level where Vladimir Putin could start, making huge demands. And so there was silence from all fronts, but then it became apparent that that was not working, and she was charged. And then she was declared wrongfully detained, which permitted the hostage negotiators at the State Department to get into it. That's my understanding of it, Coach.
Yes, when she was initially detained, we did try to mute the messaging a little bit, trying to get it resolved quickly. That was before the war had broken out in Ukraine or as it was starting. And we've changed that messaging. And as we've become more vocal and brought the message straight to the president and tried to amplify our talking points and trying to get more people to speak out, the response has been swift and an uptick in that. Our team was also briefed by the State Department when we were in Washington, D.C. for a game, and we spoke directly with the officials and the agents that are working for her release. So we know that these people have been working extremely hard. The State Department, our government, our local officials, the nonprofits, and this news today that President Biden has responded, has spoken to Cherelle, and is going to continue to push for her return is probably the best news we've heard in a really long time. And it will be something that we'll be able to talk about at our rally tonight. And hopefully this will continue and finally bring this horrible nightmare that has been for BG and her family to an end. 139 days is a really long time, and we're hopeful for that to end as quickly as possible.
Well, Vanessa Nygaard, it's a real privilege to meet you virtually and to have you, to be able to share this good news with you. The first good news we've had in, as you point out, 139 days, and we're going to be watching the rally tonight and continuing to report. And so we're looking for the next steps. Thank you so very much for being with us today.